It just says. All right. Good morning. Welcome to our service from the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm David Mix Barrington. I'm a member of the choir and the worship committee. It is wonderful to see you. It is wonderful to see you here this morning in the Great Hall and online. Thank you to everyone who is helping make the service happen this morning. If you are new or returning after a time away, we're very glad you're here. Feel free to fill out a blue welcoming card, which you can put in the offering plate later in the service. There's also an online version that you will find through the link in the chat. We'll put you on your email list so you can receive information about all our activities. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and we are guided and inspired by its values and principles. Our values and principles move us to remember that we in Northampton inhabit unceded land of the Pocumtuck and Nipmuc peoples. They remind us to acknowledge our responsibility to face the legacies of dispossession and systemic racism that are part of our collective history, even as we also affirm and celebrate the legacies that inspire us. This morning, we welcome the Reverend Sherril Willis as our guest preacher. Sherril grew up in Springfield and has lived in the Pioneer Valley all her life. Before retiring a few years ago, she worked for 37 years in Springfield and then Amherst as a 3rd and 4th grade teacher, a reading specialist, and a math, writing, and reading interventionist. She is also an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ and a local poet who has published 3 collections of her poetry. She preaches regularly in UCC churches throughout the valley. Okay, we're here to celebrate, to reflect, and support one another in sustaining hope and upholding our values. If you're on Zoom, we ask that you please keep your videos off except during the greeting. And if you're in the Great Hall, it's mandatory this is the last week for which it's mandatory. Thank you for wearing a mask. I'd like to welcome Greg Hayes, our music director emeritus, because Ellen is fine. She was called away suddenly and asked Greg to substitute. The pieces may be different from they're certainly different from the order of meeting. It may or may not be on the slides or not, but The prelude is going to be the Slightly Bright Waltz by Takashi Yoshimatsu. The offertory is going to be O Song of Youth, O Golden Star by Fanny Mendelssohn. And on page 10, the interlude will be Perfect Happiness from Scenes of Childhood by Robert Schumann. And the postlude will be Children's Song number 7 by Chick Corea. And now we will begin our service. Encircled, driven not only by love, but by a lust for working tomorrow. The flights of this journey, mapless, uncertain, and necessary as water. I invite everyone to rise in body and spirit for our chalice lighting. We'll remain standing for the first hymn. Flame, we kindle you again today, yet in truth you burn always. In the magic of human connection, in the miracle of earth's abundance, in the call to hope and justice, burn bright before us, burn bright within us. And please remain standing, and we will sing Come, Come, Whoever You Are. I don't see the number, but it is 188, thank you. And we will sing it through once, and then we decide whether we want to do a round or not until Greg is finished playing. This will all be planned.
morning. If I get too loud, I never have been accused of being too soft, but if I get too loud, just do this and I'll adjust. I have a story for you this morning. It's called Only One You. Now, I have to ask, if I come down there, will people be able to hear me? Okay, I'll stay up here then. This is by Linda Krantz. It's time, Papa said. I think it is, Mama agreed. Time for what, Addie asked. Papa's voice softened to share some wisdom. Always be on the lookout for a new friend. Look for beauty wherever you are and keep the memory of it with you. Blend in when you need to, stand out when you have the chance. Find your own way. You don't have to follow the crowd. Know when to speak and know when to listen. No matter how you look at it, there's so much to discover. If you make a wrong turn, circle back. If something gets in your way, move around it. Set aside some quiet time to relax and reflect every day. Appreciate art. It's all around you. Make wishes on the stars in the nighttime sky. Thank you for listening, said Mama. We hope that you will remember, Papa winked and whispered. We know this is a lot for you to think about. Addie did a backward somersault and smiled. He was excited to go out into the world with what he had just learned. Wait for me, he shouted to his friends. Before he swam away, he turned back to his parents and said, I will remember. Mama kissed him on the top of his head. There's only one you in this great big world, she said. Make it a better place. And the hymn is in the Teal book, and it's number 1053.
now it's time to greet one another. Those of you in the Great Hall, please wave. If you're on Zoom, you're invited to turn on your videos, wave, and say hello in the chat. It's helpful to switch to gallery view. Anyone online or in person who is new or newish would like to, please say hello and tell us where you're from. So do I see this? Will I see this? Will I see people in here to? See it. I don't see it yet. Maybe it's not there yet.
Nobody's chatting.
Hi. Melissa Bullock says good morning, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. It's been good to see everyone. Please remember to turn off your videos. And now it's time for anyone going to religious education activities to leave us. Please join in singing them out. Is there any last minute social justice minute? Nobody told me about one, but we can do one if you're ready. Are you? No. Okay, great. Our generosity makes everything we do possible. It helps us support organizations and movements in the greater community. Half of the proceeds of each week's offering support the Society's operating budget, and half are shared outside our walls. You can mail in a check, donate online, or put your contribution in one of the plates that the ushers will pass. The net offering will now be given and gratefully received.
The meditation this morning is from Langston Hughes. It's a poem that's called Let America Be America Again. It will be followed by a time of silence. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be a dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be the great strong land of love, where never kings confide or tyrants scream, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be the land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro, bearing slavery scars. I am the red man, driven from my land. I am the immigrant, clutching the hope that I seek, and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush weak. I am the young man, full of strength and hope, tangled in the ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the way of satisfied need, of work the man, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today, despite the dream, beaten yet today, O pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker, bartered through the years. I am the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream a strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrowed turn, that made America the land it has become. Oh, I am the man that sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be at home, for I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shores and Poland's plains and England's grassy lea, and torn from Black Africa strand I come to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millionaires on relief today. The millions shot down when it struck. The millions who have nothing for our pay. For all the dreams we've dreamt, for all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've built, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free. The land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, Who made America? Whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand on the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again? Sure, call me an ugly name that you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on people's lives, we must take back our land again. America? Oh, yes. I say it plain. America was a never America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the crack and the ruin of the grandeur of death, the rape and the rot of graft and the stench and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plains, all the stretch of the great green states, and make America again.
Please rise in spirit or in body, and we're going to sing Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen, hymn number 99 in the gray hymnal. This morning, we ask that you sing the original words in the chorus, nobody knows but Jesus, rather than what's written in the hymnal. This is a form of respect for the song's original writer and singers who were singing about the conditions of enslavement.
We're playing this dance back here with the riser because without it, I would be invisible. The reading, let me take this off. The reading this morning is from Galatians 3:28. Let's get the right one. In Christ, there is no room for Jew and Greek. There is no room for slave and free man. And there is no room for male or female. For in union with Christ Jesus, you are all one. And if you belong to Christ, then you are true descendants of Abraham and his heirs under the promise. So my message this morning is entitled, Letting It Go. What I really learned in kindergarten. I went to kindergarten when I was 5 years old. It was a spectacular occurrence, getting all dressed up in my brand new school dress. I had turned down ruffled socks that matched the ribbons in my hair. My little white button-down cardigan fit to perfection. I looked good. No, I looked fantastically, wonderfully beautiful. I walked to school with my two brothers, one on each side of me. We arrived at our 4-room schoolhouse, a round brick building, Jefferson Avenue School, early enough to play on the swings for a few minutes. I was excited. I knew so many kids and my teacher because I had met them the previous spring. When my teacher, Miss Somerville, came to the door and rang the bell, I carefully hopped off the swing and got into line. I gave my teacher a toothless smile and lowered my head in respect, just the way my mother had taught me to do. Miss Somerville said good morning and welcomed us to the first day of school. We all went into the classroom, which was a freshly painted, beautiful sunshine yellow. I'll never forget the color. Our classroom had huge windows with bright white curtains that were tied back with pressed lace. There was a book corner, a paint corner, a plasticine corner, and each child on their desk had a card with their name written out in beautiful manuscript and numbers that have been done by the teacher. Next to the classroom was a bathroom with just 2 stalls, one for boys and one for girls. There was no door on the stalls, just an outer door, but no one seemed to care. We came to the circle and we sat on the rug, and then we each were asked our name, address, and phone number. I was the only one that knew all 3. I could even spell my name, which, as you can see, is spelled very differently. And I still remember my first phone number, RE73897. Miss Somerville had put one desk and chair in the front of the class, and she then asked me to come and stand on the desk. She pulled the chair out, so that it would make it easier for me to climb and reach the desk. I thought that this was a nice thing for her to do to help me. Once I was standing on the desk, she said, "Class, this is Sherril Willis. She is a colored girl. Look how clean Sherril is. Look at her long braids, which were down past my keister, that her mommy braided. Look how clean her hair is. Look at her ears. They're so clean too." Miss Somerville then had me turn around, which I happily did, After all, she was paying me all this great compliments. When I turned around, the teacher lifted up my dress and said, "Look, class, Cheryl's underwear is so clean and so cute with its day of the week and the little ruffles. Look too at how her dress is spotless and starched to perfection. Even her crinoline is clean and starched." Next, Miss Somerville had me sit on the desk so that I could take off my shoes and socks. Of course, I did this without hesitation. Once my feet were bare, she held up one foot at a time. She spread my toes and said, "Class, notice how clean her feet are, even between her toes, and her heels and ankles are not crusty." My teacher thanked me as she helped me down from the desk, and then we went back on with the business of kindergarten learning, playing, having snacks, and recess. I thought my teacher was going to eventually do this with all the children in the class, so I didn't mind being pointed out as being clean. Yet this routine went on for several days. I became very uncomfortable, but did not know who to tell. After all, school was new to me, and I was following the teacher's instructions. Then one day in October, happened to be just before my birthday, my mother happened to come into school just as I was climbing onto the desk. She said, "Sherril Ann Willis, what are you doing?" With all the pride I could muster, I said, "I'm climbing on the desk so that the teacher can show everybody how clean I am." I continued on by saying, Miss Somerville shows the class my hair, my dress, socks, even my undies, and now that I wear a coat, she shows them that too." In a very low voice, my mother said, "Sherril, go into the bathroom and stay there until I come and get you." I started to cry because my mother used my real name, my full real name. I didn't know what I did, but I knew I did something wrong. I went into the bathroom and I waited and waited and waited. Finally, I heard my mother call me by using my nickname, and I began to relax a little bit because I felt that whatever was wrong was now straightened out. As I came out of the girls' bathroom, I didn't know what to expect, so I stopped near the door. I noticed everyone, including Miss Somerville, standing in a line. They all came towards me and walked up to me. And as they did, they each, including the teacher, said, "We are so sorry. We now know that you are a person just like us." I did not know what to make of this situation, so I just stood there, said nothing, and when it was over, I went back to doing the things we do in kindergarten. When I got home from school, my mother was waiting as usual. My brothers and I had snack, and as we were getting ready for our American bandstand dance party, my mother said, "No party today. I have something very important to tell you. Mom told us that we were as good as everyone else in our school, and that we should never let anyone say that we are different just because of the color of our skin. She said, if people notice you and want to give you a compliment, that's fine. A compliment should not be given because they expect less of you and were surprised by your actions or your appearances. Never let people belittle you or set you apart because you are Black. And when you get older, call people out for their improper comments." I never forgot these lessons from my mother. Through the years, I have also learned that appearances count. especially if you're Black and a woman. Oh, and by the way, Miss Somerville never put me on the desk again. Later, as a teacher in that same school system, I learned that I was the first Black child, in fact, the first Black person that Miss Somerville had ever met up close or spoken to. Hopefully, we both learned some important lessons that year. I tell this story not to shock or to receive sympathy, but I tell it as an example of forgiveness. I wish that I could say that this was the only time that I was humiliated for the color of my skin, but it was not. In fact, it was the first of a lifetime of criticism and critique that I had to endure as I journeyed through this life. Without forgiveness, I would never have accomplished what I have today. Forgiveness makes it possible forgiveness makes it possible for humiliation to turn to humility. However, that can only happen when one remembers that humiliation that Jesus had suffered in his lifetime. This is a very different year for many people, the same as last year and the year before and the year before. Not only are we still contending with the pandemic, homelessness, underemployment, global changes, and all the hardship that go along with each of these crises, we are also dealing with issues of racism. Perhaps here in Northampton, we do not think that we experience racism as directly as if we were in a bigger city, but we have all experienced the effects of racism indirectly, emotionally, and spiritually. I share this personal story because many people have never dealt with the effects of racism, yet they have experienced other isms, sexism, ageism, classism, to name a few. If we all have baggage that we need to let go, then we can all forgive. Whether we were on the receiving end of an ism or we were contributing and doing the hurt and in establishing the mistrust from our experiences, or we were on the giving end, causing hurt for everyone, we must learn that it is behavior that separates us from our Creator. So now I challenge you, I ask you to go back into your life and to think of a time when you participated in these hurtful behaviors. Maybe you called somebody a raging idiot or an old codger or something worse, a derogatory slur. Think of that time when you observed someone who participated in some ism and when you stayed silent. Think of how this hurtful behavior caused festering and oozing like a deep open wound. Regardless of the hurt, let it go. That does not mean forget it. Forgetting may open the door for reoccurrence, which certainly is not what we want to happen. Letting go means asking the Creator to help us remove the hurt from our hearts and our souls so that there is room for us to grow. And remember to love your neighbor, include your enemies, the ones we hurt, and those who hurt us. Amen. And the hymn is number 121, I believe. The closing words today are from Numbers, chapter 6, 24 through 26, which is also called the Great Benediction. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to Aaron and your sons, this is the way that you are to bless all the Israelites. Say to them, the Lord bless you and grant you. The Lord make his face to shine down upon you. The Lord lift up your countenance and be gracious to you. You shall live in peace, and you shall invoke the name on behalf of the Israelites, as I have blessed them. Go now in peace to love and to serve our Creator and each other." Amen.